GAN cubes have always been some of the most expensive 3x3s that you can buy. Their newest cube, the GAN356 X, is no exception. It's $62 on the cubicle, which as far as I know, makes it the most expensive mass-produced 3x3 you can buy. This cube comes with lots of additional features, which certainly helps to explain the high price. But $60 is still a lot of money to spend on one cube, so let's take a closer look at the 356 X to find out whether or not it's worth the price. To start off, let's take a look at what I think is the main selling point of this cube, the customizing potential that it offers. The GAN356 X has 3 sets of magnets, each with a different strength. The magnets come in small plastic cylinders that make switching out the different magnet strengths a breeze. You simply misalign the middle layer by 45 degrees and then use the new magnets to push the old ones out and the new ones in. Do that for all 12 edges and you're done. It's super easy to do and won't take more than a minute or two to completely swap magnet types. The magnets that come pre-installed on the cube are the strongest ones and come in clear plastic cylinders. The yellow magnets are medium strength and the green magnets are the weakest. The 356 X also comes with a set of clear plastic cylinders that have no magnets, so if you want to, you will have the option to demagnetize the cube. During the 2 weeks I've had with this cube so far, I've given each of the available magnet strength options a chance and figured out which ones work and which ones don't. For starters, the cube is virtually unusable without magnets, so I definitely wouldn't recommend demagnetizing it. It's way too floppy and unstable, and I can't get anywhere close to my normal times on this cube without magnets in it. After trying out the cube without magnets in it for a bit, I swapped in the green magnet capsules, and immediately I noticed a lot of improvement. It's a little bit more stable, and a lot of the floppiness from before was gone. Additionally, after I replaced the green magnets with the yellow ones, I noticed a few more small improvements on the cube overall. However, I think that by far the clear magnets are the best ones for this cube, and certainly help me get the best times when solving on it. Now, before I move on to discussing the GES system implemented in the 356 X, I should mention that the 356 X that I have is the IPG version 5. It's basically identical to the normal 356 X, which is called the Numerical IPG version, but due to production issues, this version has been out of stock a lot lately. So I decided that I would just get the IPG version 5 so that I could review this cube while it's still fairly new. Aside from a $5 price difference between the two versions of the 356 X, the only difference is in the GES system implemented. GES, or the GAN elasticity system, is the system that GAN has been using for a while in their 3x3s in place of the original screw and spring core setup. The IPG version 5 uses the GES V3 system, which includes 4 different spring strengths: purple, blue, green, and yellow in order from weakest to strongest. As with recent GAN cubes before the X, with the IPG version 5, you tension the cube by using the GAN tensioning tool to twist the GES nuts onto the core. This makes tensioning the cube, or switching out the springs, somewhat difficult and time-consuming. However, the numerical IPG version of the 356 X uses what GAN calls the GES Plus system. All of the available spring strengths are the same as on the IPG version 5, but instead of tensioning the cube freely, there are 3 predetermined tension settings available on the cube for you to choose from. This makes swapping springs out so much easier, and also means that you are guaranteed to have perfectly even tensions, which is pretty helpful. Of course, the one downside that this comes with is that you only have 3 tensioning options. However, the vast majority of people will be perfectly happy with one of these 3 tension settings, because very few people keep their cube extremely loose or extremely tight. Oh, and in case you're wondering, I decided to put the yellow GES nuts in my cube, although the green ones also work very well. My favorite aspect of this cube is definitely the feeling. As usual, GAN has made their most recent flagship even more satisfying to turn than their previous cubes. Not only is the 356 X the smoothest cube I've felt to date, but it has a very pleasant snappiness to it as well when solving. It's fantastic out of the box too, but I did add a considerable amount of Lubrical Silk to really bring out the smoothness, and I added a few drops of Lubrical 1 as well to complete the setup. As far as corner cutting goes, this cube can cut from pretty much any angle, and small cuts, especially small reverse cuts, are nearly effortless. This, in combination with the amazing feeling, makes this cube a joy to solve on. I find myself doing much longer solving sessions with this cube than I used to, because once I start turning it, I don't want to stop, and I haven't really had that with many other cubes in the past. Also, I haven't had any problems with popping on the 356 X, but unfortunately I do get the occasional corner twist, although it doesn't happen often enough to really change my opinion of the cube. I've done nearly 2,000 solves on this cube, and I've had a few really good sessions with plenty of fantastic singles, so I'm definitely considering making this cube my main. My only concern so far is that I've become a bit less consistent when solving on this cube. Even though I've had great sessions, I've also had some mediocre and subpar ones, so I think I'm going to need to try using this cube in competition and then decide if it's reliable enough for me to use as my main speed cube. Despite that one small concern, overall this is a great cube. It has a smooth, satisfying feel when turning and performs well in solves. But what makes this cube so good is the ability for anyone to make it perfect for them. The customization capabilities on the 356 X are second to none, and that's definitely worth something. But is it worth spending $60 on a 3x3? As always, that decision is ultimately up to you because different people are willing to spend different amounts on a cube. Personally though, I lean on the side of this cube not quite being worth the price. It is a great cube, don't get me wrong, but there are other great cubes out there, and none of them are $60. I think that most people who buy this cube will really enjoy it, but the fact that I'm not even sure if I'll make it my main makes me question whether it can possibly be worth all $60, because that is a lot to spend on a speed cube. But as I said, that decision will be up to you. So that's it for this review of the GAN356 X. Ideally, I would have liked to have the Numerical IPG for this review, but I wanted to tell you guys my thoughts on this cube as quickly as possible, and I don't know how long it'll be until I get that version of the 356 X. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed and learned more about this cube. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!